quarterback matchup this Sunday in the Super Bowl. He plays well, team plays well. When he struggles, they struggle. He'll bounce back tonight.
You see the numbers against Miami. He was 0 for 8, and it is almost impossible to fathom. Pittsburgh's got the top 2 scorers in the best conference in college basketball, and they're 1-7 in conference.
Yeah, these two guys have to have sensational nights. They account for more percentage points of the team's total points than any duo in college basketball. They don't have a lot of help, so they need to bring their A game tonight. They're capable of going for 40. We've already seen that earlier this season when Jamel Artis went for 43 against Louisville.
Teddy Valentine early making his presence felt. So Isaiah Hicks will jump for North Carolina, and he'll win the tap. First 3 of the night, it comes from Joel Berry, and he buries it.
No surprise. You knew he wanted to get and see the shot go through the basket after going 0 for 8 against Miami. And look, Roy Williams teams, they don't lose back-to-back games against unranked opponents. Last time that actually happened was back in 2014. They lost to Wake Forest by 6 and then to Miami by 6. Both of them were unranked at the time.
Good layup as Chris Jones was met at the rim by Kennedy Meeks, but he got it to go. Well, I don't know what happened against Miami. I mean, I saw it, and I know what happened, but I did the Virginia Tech game here last week. They looked like they were going to win the national championship, and it was a Joel Berry and Justin Jackson three-point shooting affair.
Look at college basketball last week, though. Did Florida State all of a sudden become a bad team? They went through 6 straight games where they went 5-1 against ranked opponents. They lose back-to-back games against unranked opponents. By the way, Florida State's really good still.
Really good, yeah.
All right, North Carolina is still really, really good and a national championship contending team.
Meeks down low, uses that big body of his. He can't get it to go. And who's going to get on the floor to get it? Big scrum down there. And a little battle between Berry and a Pitt Panther. And it's tied up. Arrow points in the favor of Pittsburgh.
Last week was just one of those odd weeks in college basketball where so many of the top 10 teams lost. I mean, UCLA lost at home to Arizona, then loses to USC. Multiple losses in a row to a team that has its sights set on trying to get to Arizona at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Still very capable. I equate it to baseball. You love baseball, I love baseball. You know, after the All-Star break, it kind of gets to a little bit of a lull, and then it picks up for that stretch run. That's where we're at right now as we turn the page and get ready for February in college basketball.
Young three misses. Hicks on the push-out. He got hacked in the act of shooting. I would agree with that, and maybe basketball being the intense sport that it is, and you don't play 162 times, but you take a look at some of the schedules that have either been played or will be played, and you understand, especially on the road, where an off night's gonna happen. Plus, they're 20-year-old kids. It's going to happen. They're humans.
Are you sure?
Most of the time.
Well, the guy at the free throw line right now has just been sensational all season long. He's been playing above that normal human level.
Yeah, he's been great.
And it's no surprise. I tweeted this out earlier today. The best players always usually are the first ones out. 45 minutes before shoot-around today, and Justin Jackson was on the floor by himself with the manager working on his game.
Tough pass, good pressure from Carolina. It's going to lead to a turnover. See Young there with that face mask. He broke an orbital bone January 11th, and he was amongst the best shooting percentage guys on his team. And since then, he shot 25% from the field and 26 from 3. And this is a guy that shoots about 44% from the field. It has dramatically affected his ability to shoot. Threes keep flying, and what Carolina does better than anybody in the country almost is get offensive rebounds. They nearly had another one, but on the out-of-bounds line with a leg was Isaiah Hicks.
Hey, you mentioned Michael Young with the mask, and my freshman year at UCLA, I broke my nose. And not an orbital bone, but my nose, and I had to wear one of those masks. It really does impact your vision. The sweat gathers underneath the mask. It's not comfortable. You're consistently drying it off during the media timeouts. And trust me, I was nowhere near the scorer or shooter that Michael Young was, or is, but it still affects and impacts you. 2 2
Jeter not usually a threat offensively, trying to work one-on-one, and has to kick it back out to Young with 5 on the shot clock. Artis is going to have to pull up from way outside. Does so. Hits the rim, and Carolina will rebound. When Pittsburgh makes their shots, they're really good. When they're not, they're 1-7.
Well, part of their woes at the defensive end of the floor is because of missed shots. They take poor quality shots that aren't in rhythm or flow of the offense. It allows runouts. It allows your defense to be spread out and seems to get exposed. Go back to that Clemson game last week. They really struggled in the second half of that game offensively, and because of that, it broke down their defense.
Good pass, another good pass, but it leads to a long 3 attempt that finds the bottom of the basket. Good extra pass, and Cameron Johnson knocks it down.
And I really like Cameron Johnson's ability to stretch the defense. 58% of his made shots this year are from beyond the arc. I think consistency is something that he's going to have to improve upon.
Kennedy Meeks a baseline jumper, and Pittsburgh would love him to shoot that all night. Another thing you notice about Kevin Stallings' team is you have Artis out here at the top of the key. He's, 6'7". They don't have a point guard.
And in today's college basketball, it's almost a death sentence for your team. You have to be able to have a lead guard that can settle you down when things get out of whack a little bit.
Johnson no good. Easy rebound for Isaiah Hicks.
And you look at this Pitt roster, and you mentioned the leading scorers 1 and 2 in the ACC. Here's what they don't have: a point guard, a center, and they really have limited quickness across their lineup.
Hicks rises and comes up short with the air ball. Who'd it go off? It went off a Pittsburgh leg. Pittsburgh down 2. Carolina 7 quickies early. The lack of point guard that they have with Young and Artis off and bringing the ball up. On the other side, Roy Williams was spoiled by Marcus Page for so many years, Sean. And now this year he's got another one, and Joel Berry told us earlier, I want 3 point guards, let alone 1.
That's what college basketball is at. And we make the analogy to a quarterback, but in basketball it's even different from football, because your point guard so often settles things down and gets you to rhythm offensively, but also initiates your defensive pressure and sets the tone to how you defend. If you don't have somebody in that position that can pick up and really defend the ball, you're going to struggle.
End of game, too. You've got to have somebody that you can trust with the basketball. Big Tony Bradley now in number 5 for North Carolina. Kennedy Meeks sits down. Neither team shooting very well out of the gate. Hicks, baseline jumper. That one finds the bottom.
Beautiful set play against the zone. And look, Pitt coming into this game had played only 22% of their possessions on the season in the zone. After watching tape against Miami, you knew they were going to throw a zone out there. And Justin Jackson, an excellent job reading it.
Good back cut. I called him Hicks. It was Justin Jackson. Good back cut there and a good ball movement to free up Jones for the layup. Carolina trying to push it. Good cut there. Bradley had the ball deflected away out of bounds, and it will stay with Carolina. You made the point about Justin Jackson being first in the gym. He would not only come early to shoot around, he'd get here 2 or 3 hours early just to shoot, to practice, because when he went to the NBA tryouts, they basically told him, you got to fix your body, you got to fix your shot.
Yep. Plus 11% this season from beyond the arc. Much more confident. It's fluid. He's not hesitating. He's not overthinking his shot attempts. One of the premier players in college basketball.
Yeah, without question. 61% he shoots from 3-point land. 61 threes, leads the team. Pittsburgh in that zone, and it's Hicks right to the hole. Good hands there from Young to deflect it out of bounds.
Well, and it's a good thing he had quick hands, because if his hands didn't get a touch on that ball, that was in the rim and an easy dunk. 7 seconds left to go on the shot clock here.
Nate Britt has come into the game for Joel Berry. He was not for Berry, but he's back in the game. And there's a jump shot for Isaiah Hicks.
It was good scouting report defense that time. They worked on that play for at least 10 minutes of their shoot around to make sure they covered out to the 3-point line. Hicks realized it and stepped right in rhythm and knocked down that mid-range jump shot.
Kenny Williams on the bench temporarily, their best perimeter defender. Jones finds Jeter, not likely to shoot it, so they go to the foul line extended for Young. And again, he's been off. He's 0 for 2 tonight with his shot.
I like the idea of trying to create tempo and try to push. for Carolina, but I think you got to value it a little bit more in that situation. That was a little bit more of a force for Justin Jackson. If you notice why Pitt is struggling offensively right now, so many of their shots are contested twos. They are contested jump shots. That goes back to not having a point guard and not having a player you can play through on the block. When you bring in a big body that can actually score underneath,
right,
it forces the defense or the guards to have to dig down on the post and then recover out those long runouts, either open shots or seams to drive and get to the iron.
Well, they brought in a big body. Roselle Nix has just shown up.
There's not many bigger bodies in college basketball.
6'11", 300 pounds. Artist wide open on the baseline, and he knocks it down. Pittsburgh hanging close here. Carolina's gone with a smaller lineup. Williams is in now. Berry's layup short. Offensive rebound. Nice job by Tony Bradley.
You know, one of the things North Carolina does so well, and it's documented every single game, is their ability to get on the glass. But look at their bigs. They watch the drive. They keep their eye on the ball. They track it and move to the open space to make sure that they give themselves the best opportunity. That's why North Carolina is so good. It's not just because they're taller and more athletic, which in most cases they are.
Right.
But they do an excellent job having awareness of where the drive is coming from and watching the ball.
Well, Hicks tried to grab another offensive rebound and went out of bounds off him. Tony Bradley, the next big man in line here, is the freshman, the 240-pound, 6'11" freshman forward, picked up that offensive rebound. He leads the team in offensive rebounds per minutes played.
Well, you and I were both talking, and we both really like him and think his upside is going to be huge here at North Carolina.
Off the long three-point miss, Carolina run out. And now they'll settle in. The zone is flummoxing them a little bit with their three-point shooting. And another turnover, uncharacteristic for Carolina. That's 2 right now. I want to remind everybody, Thursday, 7 Eastern time, ESPN, Big Ten, Michigan State will take on Nebraska. Just saw Michigan State take care of Michigan. Tom Izzo's team fighting this year against an improved Nebraska team. It streams live on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN.
Yeah, Nebraska's had some really nice wins, including one against Penn State over the weekend. And Ty Webster and Glenn Watson, so good at scoring the basketball. Those are 2 guards that can really flatten you out defensively and receive on-ball screens and get a piece of the paint.
John's second time the back cut has worked effectively and led to layups for Pitt. Luke May into the game. He kicks it back to a 3 from Britt. Can't get it to go. Meeks back into the game, and he picks up an offensive rebound.
That's just strength. I think he got a little elbow in the lower portion of the back and just wedged his way in to get that offensive rebound.
Roy Williams has used some players tonight. Just about every starter, with the exception of Berry, has been out. Young went to the hole. That's blocked by Kennedy Meeks.
Meeks at the defensive end, blocking the shot, but offensively, this is what he does so well. Watch as the shot goes up, he turns, and even though he gives up position, a little bit of an offhand push, got away with one, but able to finish. And then defensively, rotating over, help side rotations, very key to being a good defensive team and getting stops.
His 91 offensive rebounds amongst the tops in the nation. Teddy Valentine's going to call a charge. As Jamel Artist tried to get rid of it, but instead made contact. Well, Pittsburgh has lost 6 in a row, and they, as you mentioned, in that first half against Clemson was really good. 7 for 14, then 1 of 10 in the second. It's hard to maintain. It's hard to win when you rely so much on that outside shot, and they do.
Well, and it just continues to break down your defense and puts more pressure on that. So you look at the defensive numbers and you see the way that teams have been able to score against them, in particular in the paint. I mean, they have struggled to control the paint in any way, shape, and form this college basketball season because of their lack of size. That's going to be another offensive foul.
It was as Chris Jones lowered the shoulder and banged him out of the way. 16-11, Carolina on top of Pittsburgh.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And in part by the...
And you, ESPN 2 at noon. Back to the U to wrap it up at 5 the whole day. Streams live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Joe Tess and Matt Schick anchor the coverage.
It's going to be a great day, and you look around at these two schools trying to build good classes. Pittsburgh comes in right now projected a top 30 class, 7th best in the ACC. I watched some film today on Paris Ford. He's number 62 on the ESPN 300.
Why would you watch film on that guy?
Because I'm just a nerd when it comes to watching film. And great athlete. I think he's a better defensive back than he is a wide receiver. But he's got great closing speed. I'm excited for him. It's a good get for Pitt.
I thought you were tweeting today. What did you have time? You were here today. You tweeted. You watched video of high school football players?
I don't sleep very much.
Multitasker.
But Paris Ford is going to be an excellent grab for the Pitt Panthers on the gridiron.
We should call Schick and Tessitore and just kind of, they probably know.
Yeah, I text Test earlier today.
And I said, hey, watch out for.
I said, you, me, Pitt Panthers, Italian food.
I love where Farnham's head's at. This is good. You were scouring the internet, YouTube videos. Like, where do you find them?
No, it's on ESPN.com. You go to the recruiting page, and they do a great job. And, of course, tomorrow, great coverage. Wall-to-wall, still a lot of good prospects that have not made their commitment. Alabama looks like #1.
Shocker.
But Kirby Smart is closing. Don't be surprised if Georgia ends up with the #1 recruiting class in college football this year.
Foul underneath, so we'll stay here as Kenny Williams backed out a little too aggressively on the defensive glass.
I mean, one of the keys for Pitt offensively is Carolina's going to pressure out. Movement without the ball is going to be key. Making three-pointers is also key.
Yeah, that will keep you in a game as Cameron Johnston hits another one. He's got 8 right now. Johnson came into the game averaging 11, so he's already got 8. Meeks, did he get away with an extra step? Who got high on the defensive glass that time was Jamel Artis.
Not a bad job defensive rebounding so far by Pittsburgh. They've given up 4 offensive rebounds that have led to 7 points for Carolina, but overall not a bad job considering how much they lack as far as athleticism and size.
Damon Wilson into the game. That making the bucket was Michael Young, and we got ourselves a 2-point game. That's Young's first basket. May the turnaround in the paint gets the friendly Carolina roll.
Too easy that time. Nobody was on him. Nobody had awareness of where he was at.
You mentioned doing a good job on the defensive glass. I mean, this is historically one of the great rebounding teams numbers-wise that there has been in college basketball. They're a plus 13 rebound margin. Wilson to the hole. Can't get it to go, but a good offensive board, and Young picks up his 2nd consecutive basket.
What Pittsburgh has done a nice job of is spacing the floor. And when you have a drive seam like that, Carolina's eyes are shifting and changing, and they're losing their guys. They've had a couple of back cuts, and now that offensive putback. Can't get caught watching the ball.
7th, Woods wears 21. He's in for Carolina. That shot way off from 3, and that's going to go the other way.
I think Teddy Valentine even got a foul. I think it's on Meeks.
It was on Kennedy Meeks. A couple of substitutions coming in for Roy Williams.
Well, and that's a poor foul for Kennedy Meeks. I know it's only his first, so not a big deal. You don't need to panic, but it's an air ball going out of bounds, and you get caught pushing in the back. And just no need in that situation to pick one up.
Berry and Britt back in for the backcourt of Carolina. Just to kind of continue that conversation, the idea that Roy Williams, I mean, you listen to Bill Walton, and he likes to talk about the big guys and how important they are. Roy said, I don't want 1 or 2, I want 3. He feels not having the depth may have cost him a national championship.
Yeah, go back to that Strickland year, of course, when Kendall Marshall came in, then he got hurt. Depth at the point guard position changes everything.
Rosell Nix, the big boy, with an offensive rebound, and we're tied 20-20 with 9 to go in the first half.
This team is engaged right now for Pitt. And you see them, and people forget they're 6 possessions away from being a 500 team in the ACC. A 1-point loss at Notre Dame and a pair of 5-point losses, and all of a sudden they're 4-4.
Great position by Meeks as he was able to use his body to make sure that there was no defense from Sheldon Jeter. And he's got 6 now early on 3 of 6 shooting.
It's easy if you're a Pitt fan to get caught up in the Louisville game at home.
Rosell Nix
Hey, you know what? Kevin Stallings has got to love that from his big fella.
Diving on the floor, they get the timeout. Take a look at Roselle get after it after Artis tipped it away.
What's your buy-in factor? How hard do you compete? And that was an excellent job by Nix.
Didn't get the timeout, thought he might have, so it's going to be Carolina ball.
Good job for Nix to come off the bench and provide something for his team, a little bit of a spark. Got the offensive rebound, soft touch off the glass, and then diving on the floor for a loose ball.
8:18, so we'll get a break at the 8-minute mark. They bring in Justice Kithcart. They sit down Jamel Artis for a second. Jackson pulls off and more. That is an NBA-type three.
Great length, his 10th point of the game already, and he's in a good rhythm and good flow. You just saw his feet and his balance on the release, and because of his size, it's very difficult for defensive players to disrupt his vision. And you look for big players to make big plays, and in a game where you've yet to find separation, you go to your go-to guy, and then he delivers. 3-point lead, Tar Heels.
By Dave & Buster's, the only place to eat, drink, play, and watch sports. And Ally. Do it right.
Pretty good banners hanging here at the Dean Smith Center, and you saw, of course, Michael Jordan in the middle. You know, North Carolina has more 1,000-point scores than any school in NCAA history.
The tradition and the brand of North Carolina basketball is a staple for the sport. And, you know, there's a select few programs. We call them the Blue Bloods. We talk about them all the time. You see them all the time on ESPN. But there is something different, whether you're at Rupp Arena, Cameron, Allen Fieldhouse, or you walk into this building, just how special and unique it is. And
Assembly Hall fall.
Yes.
Yeah.
You always have to be appreciative of our job that we get to sit here and watch these guys compete in this setting.
Tony Bradley, great pass after a good offensive rebound. He picks up the loose ball, and Berry long on a three, and Pittsburgh will get it. Berry made a three to start the game, like in the first 2 seconds, and he's missed his last 3 shots. He's 1 of 4.
But don't you get that sense? I mean, it's the same thing in baseball. There's certain ballparks that just stand out more than others. And this is one of those buildings. And this is one of those programs that is a staple and a brand. It's like the Yankees in baseball.
Yeah, that's a good chicken and egg conversation. Is it because they've had such great success that you walk in the building and feel that way? Or is it the building itself?
I think it's the fact that they've had such great success.
Run out for Pittsburgh, and a good layup, an attempted block that didn't go, and Damon Wilson gets it to go with a left hand. So Pittsburgh, every time you think like they're ready to be knocked down, they hang around. They're going to call an illegal back screen there, and that one on Isaiah Hicks.
Yeah, so an empty possession this time down for North Carolina, and last possession, there's a turnover, back-to-back. Missed opportunities for Carolina, then the run out, and Jackson just gave up real estate trying not to foul, and a good finish. And if you're Pittsburgh, you have to be opportunistic. You know you're not going to probably find a ton of transition looks, but when you have them, you have to be able to convert.
And give them some credit, too. They lost their best player in Artis. He went to the bench for about 2.5 minutes. He's back in. The lead is only 3. In the corner, Wilson 3, no good. Jeter with the offensive rebound, and then he puts it back up and in. A little taste of Carolina medicine.
All right, so we talked about this building and the brand it is. Well, when you're an opponent and you've been struggling, guess what you sometimes need? To play in a building like this, because your focus becomes laser sharp, and that's what Pittsburgh has been able to do so far in this game.
Great pass and a flush for Hicks. Nate Britt set him up.
You break down the middle of the defense. You get the ball in that painted area coming off the top. It's going to force the back line to have to step 2 and rotate. And when that happens, you're looking at the rim, because that's where North Carolina is going to end up.
How tough is that shot from Jamel Artis?
And his buy-in factor has been big this year for North Carolina, for Pittsburgh. And he's been a guy that is just so competitive, has such a belief, and wants to will his team to victory.
Every player on the floor for Pittsburgh, 6'5" now with Wilson out there, are taller. They don't play with the 6'10", 6'11", but they're long. And the defense tonight has proven that. Another basket for Isaiah Hicks as he gets the foul.
Back-to-back possessions where they've gone inside. This was the possession before. Watch the drive off top. The back line of the defense cheats over. It's Young that slides over and vacates that spot. And as he steps away, gives up the easy two. That time it's just a one-on-one look, and Hicks able to finish up over the top.
Isaiah Hicks, 6 points in the game. He's at the free throw line. Senior, 6'9", 242-pounder. An 81% free throw shooter. There's that value, though. That was Britt who made that pass after he had received it from Berry, the multiple point guards. And Roy told us earlier he thinks 7th Woods is going to be a really good player here.
And sometimes that journey, that arc to success is different for every player. There are some freshmen that can come in, and we see it across the country. And there's a lot of good point guards. Dennis Smith Jr. from North Carolina State, Markel Fultz from Washington, Lonzo Ball, De'Aaron Fox. But sometimes there's other players that it just takes a little bit longer for them to find themselves.
Pretty layup after the lane was vacated. And now 10 points for Johnson. Jackson, 3 straight away, off to the left. Kennedy Meeks keeps it alive. Kennedy Meeks is going to have 100 offensive rebounds, perhaps by the time the night is over.
That would be a record.
Not in the game, a total. Berry buries the 3. That would be a tremendous night. I thought 10 in the night would be big. That would get him over.
Roy Williams might be upset, though, if he had 100 missed shots.
That's true. Well, the lead is 4, and the crowd makes you feel like this is a key part of the game. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Wilson, tough drive. Meeks denies him. Knicks. No, the shot clock expired. Good block by Kennedy Meeks. And the 6th turnover of the night for Pittsburgh. Feeding off the crowd or feeding off the play. 32-28.
We're led to believe each individual point is worth the same amount, regardless of when it...
Greenberg and Jay Williams. Back to you.
Adnando, good to hear you in the studio with Seth and with Jay. 32-28 here. Carl Ravitch, Sean Farnham. The ACC on ESPN. And Pittsburgh has made a fight of it. They have only made 2 of 9 three-pointers. North Carolina 4 of 12. Kennedy Meeks, 97 offensive rebounds, shy of 100 so far. He's got 3.
But I like the fact that you went out on a limb and called it.
Well, he now has 94 for the season. That would be the more likely 100, and we're going to call a foul on Joel Berry.
You've got to have awareness. The defense walled up beautifully in the middle of the paint, and if you're Joel Berry, you go straight up and straight down. You don't leave your feet with momentum taking you forward.
All right, so Sean, you got 3:20 left. I mean, Kevin Stallings is going to be delighted with the effort that he's getting from.
He's got to be delighted with everything. I mean, they're equal on the glass. They have forced 6 turnovers now, so they're equal in that category as well. They're equal in made field goals. They're actually +2 in the paint right now on North Carolina, which nobody would have thought could be possible at this junction of the game in the first half.
Carolina coming off a game in which they were out-rebounded by Miami. The second time this year they've been out-rebounded. 6 on the shot clock. Young's going to try to do it one-on-one. High arcing shot, and Young's starting to heat up a little bit. He's got 6.
You mentioned going one-on-one. He has to do that often, and so he's comfortable in that situation. Kevin Stallings, a very good offensive mind.
Kennedy Meeks, he could have turned and shot a free throw line jump shot instead. Brought it in close, and I'll tell you who's doing a good job. Roselle Nix on the offensive and defensive glass is a big, big body. And he's preventing some of those trees from Carolina from getting close.
You go back to that lost offensive possession. Look how they isolate the floor. Really nobody on that side of the floor for him. A little jab step forces the defense to step back ever so slightly, and that little separation allows Young to finish up over the top. A lot of young players forget about the jab steps and jab series. It's something you learned when you were 9, 10 years old growing up, but use a good jab step. The defense has to react, and if they don't, you just go right by them.
Very long three. Splash. From a very, very effective outside shooter. Spent more time here. You talk about guys who were here at the beginning of practice. Joel Berry, during the shoot-around, was the last one on the floor, and he worked his way around the entire three-point arc. And that was the sound you kept hearing. Swish, swish, swish. Critical last 2 minutes of the first half with the lead of 5. In and out on the three, and a chance for Carolina to go up 7 or 8. Jackson open three. Got it! Largest lead of the night. Kevin Stallings calls a quick timeout. And it's a very tenuous time here with 97 seconds to go.
If there was any way to make the $10 any pizza carryout deal from Pizza Hut any easier or any better.
Yeah. Usually on Tuesday nights, I'm on the SEC, and this year they told me I got the opportunity to work with Brent Musburger. I mean, thrilled. You know, for me, he's been the guy that's been at every major sporting event in my lifetime that I can recall. For my children, he's Brent Mustangburger from the Cars movies and Planes. But you know, such a great honor to, even for the last 3 weeks, to have him call me partner and wish him the best in his future endeavors.
Foul there on May and a three-point play, and I think to your point, when you say he was at every big game that you ever watched, the thing that I always found unique about Brent is actually the game may not have been that big.
Just
he
felt that way.
made it feel big. It just felt like this was a significant event because he was part of it. So it wasn't always the national championship, and I got a chance to spend about 4 years with him at the Little League World Series.
Yep.
And I knew that if Brent Musburger were involved in the Little League World Series, it's something I wanted to be involved with. There must be something significant about it. And I sat with him in the cafeteria for hours talking about the stories. And just being on this road trip, you're reminded that what Brent did for so long, as glorious as it seems to people at home, there are airplanes that are delayed, hotel rooms that aren't ready, drives alone in a car after games at night. I mean, that's a passion, and he brought it every single game.
Now, you mentioned the stories. Just the countless stories from the Joe Namath pitcher, which is his favorite story to tell. I just, even the last couple of weeks, just sitting around and, okay, so tell me, what was it like when you met Muhammad Ali? Now, tell me about Pete Rose.
Well, Laddie, I'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you. 3 along the way, and it goes down, and that keeps Pittsburgh within 4 with 30 to go.
How about the answer from Pitt? And Kevin Stallings has got to take this team into the locker room, regardless of what happens here in the final 24 seconds, and feel really good about their effort, how hard they fought, and their attention to detail so far here in the first half. And it's not like Carolina's playing poorly. It's Pittsburgh that's playing very well and utilizing screens. Nix is a hard guy to try to fight around and create a little bit of a gap, a little bit of a space. And as we mentioned, Artist, he can really finish.
Well, you talked about it at the top, how Artis and Young have led the team in scoring about 90% of their games they played tonight. Cam Johnson having a good game. He's 4 of 5. He's actually the team's leading scorer. He's got 10 points right now. Young has 9. Artis has 7.
I think the mark of any team, you have to have at least 3 guys that can score. You can't just have 2. And even if it's a complementary role, and Johnson would be the one guy for Pittsburgh down the stretch of this season. He's got to become more comfortable in being that third scoring option for Pittsburgh on a consistent basis. 2 of 3 from three-point land is Cameron Johnson. You look at the sophomore there. His scoring is up almost 7 points a game this season. And given Kevin Stallings' first season here, they're so senior-laden. He's one of the guys, Johnson, that's going to be around for the next couple of years. You see a box-and-one defense. They're staying everywhere with Justin Jackson, and defensively, the rest of the team is zoned up. 5 on the shot clock, 6 on the game clock. Berry is going to do it himself. Short off the iron. May gets it to go, and that will count. And they're going to look at it. Kevin Stallings right away looks over at Teddy Valentine, but I had a great view of it, and he got it off the window with about .4 on the shot clock.
And the half clock right there.
Yep. There's no question that that one's going to count. Poor box out. You know what happened is they were playing the shot clock, not the game clock. So on the release, Pittsburgh stood up and relaxed. They didn't finish the possession rebounding the basketball, and that's what allowed that wide open lane and a good quick release for Carolina to get the extra 2.
Kevin Stallings' team this season shooting 47% from the field, but in the first half they shoot 55%. How big were those 2 points at the buzzer? We'll see as the second half unfolds. But we got a halftime report coming up. 42-36. Land Rover halftime report comes up after these messages. Carolina coming off a game in which they had more turnovers than assists against Miami. They were out rebounded by Miami. They came into this game against a team 1-7 in conference, and yet here they are thanks to a layup at the buzzer, only up 6. It's kind of been Pittsburgh's style that has worked really well for Kevin Stallings so far.
Well, and they haven't settled for a lot of jump shots, too. I mean, they are outscoring North Carolina in the paint, and nobody saw that one coming.
No.
The biggest number for me is they're only 3 of 11 from beyond the arc.
Yep.
But inside the arc, they are shooting 72% from the floor. Folks, I'm not lying. 72%, 13 of 18 made field goals inside the arc. So look for them to try to get inside and continue to attack. For North Carolina, it's been a first half for Justin Jackson and Joel Berry from the outside. 6 of 12 combined. They've made all 6 of the North Carolina three-pointers from beyond the arc. Look for them to kind of continue that streak.
26 they average in the paint. They already got 20. North Carolina 18. They average 40. You get the sense that Roy Williams had a few things to say about the defense. And Berry and Jackson have got 6 of the three-pointers that Carolina has in the first half.
You cannot be an elite level team and allow your opponent to make 72% of their shots inside the arc. And I guarantee you that was discussed at the break.
Especially for a team that doesn't have a 6'10", 6'11 guy.
So it's a lot. How is that coming? Dribble penetration,
back cuts,
floor spacing, some second chance points that they were able to squeeze in there. And for Pittsburgh, you've got to try to do much of the same. A 1-3-1 defense to start.
First 7-game losing streak and trying to avoid that, and that's not a great start. North Carolina undefeated at home this season. They are 11-0. Pittsburgh has never won a game in conference here in this building. There was 1 tie in the first half. Pitt never led, and the biggest Carolina lead was 8.
And that's a careless foul by Artis.
That's his second. Really nobody in foul trouble. Artis picks up his second.
A really clean first half. 11 fouls combined between the two teams.
Nobody on Carolina with 2.
That's what has allowed the game to have a good rhythm and a good flow to it.
Berry started the game with a 3-pointer about 8 seconds in. And it felt like that was going to be something Carolina would do all night long as Jackson hits the turnaround jump shot. Justin Jackson's got 15.
And it's effortless. You very rarely, and so far in this game, I haven't seen him take a poor shot. I mean, it's always his feet are set, he's on balance, his release is perfect, and it doesn't go in all the time. But he does a nice job not forcing his offensive game. Conversely to what Pitt players have to do. They kind of have to force and grind it out.
Here's another good attempt at the layup, and down on the ground, hit pretty hard. It's Michael Young. The back cut, though, has been an effective weapon, and there was another good example of it as Kennedy Meeks picked up his second.
You extend out the defense, and this is part of the problem. Okay, so we touched on it. Okay, so they don't have a player they can play through. Right. What does it force, though, North Carolina to have to do with their bigs? It forces their bigs to have to step away and defend out on the perimeter. And in a different way than you normally have to, even showing on-ball screens, you're guarding a player that's capable of maybe putting it down and attacking you.
Sean, in this losing streak, they had a 55-point loss to Louisville, and that's when Kevin Stallings got his seniors in. They have a meeting in the office. They were very, very concerned. They then lost again to Clemson by 7, but they played harder, if you will, and they're certainly given effort so far, just a minute into the second half. Berry. And Artis shook his head after that one went through. He felt like he had played some pretty good defense.
Usually you don't have to defend 8 feet beyond the three-point line. Berry just stepped into that one there.
Well, full court pressure, and Berry's tenacious on defense right now. Mismatch down low for Young with Williams on him. They don't get it to him. The three is good. Everybody scoring tonight. That's Chris Jones. He's got 7.
And his first three-point attempt. It's been pretty impressive to see Pitt do what they've done so far in this game.
Meeks steps in. Finger roll, no good. Try to tap it to a teammate. Ball on the ground. And Meeks is tied up with Sheldon Jeter. Possession arrow goes to Pittsburgh. You saw Meeks there with an attempted tip. He tried to get it to Isaiah Hicks instead of trying to tip it back in or grab the offensive rebound.
You look at Pittsburgh, and they don't score a lot of points off of turnovers, fewest in the ACC. They average the fewest amount of points in the paint in the ACC. They don't rebound the ball well. I mean, these are what the numbers will tell you over the course of the season. Yet, that's the best part about basketball. That's what I love about this sport, is you can take those numbers sometimes and you just throw them away, because tonight what we've seen out of Pittsburgh is a team that's really focused, and right now, they're on fire.
Yep, great ball movement. 13 now for Cameron Johnson. He leads the way for Pittsburgh, and it's back to a 3-point advantage for Carolina. They've done a really good job moving the ball around the defense. Good job that time getting it inside. Isaiah Hicks picks up points 7 and 8.
They work the back line of that zone defense brilliantly. Good awareness and able to find the big fella underneath. It comes down to wanting to get stops, though. If North Carolina wants to extend out this game and feel a little bit more comfortable at home, they've got to want to defend.
Two on the shot clock. Oh, what a shot at the buzzer by Chris Jones, who has 9.
Well, I say they want to defend. That was pretty good defense. That was just a circus shot that went down.
Williams stepped in, but he threw it away, and Artis comes down 1 on 3. Cam Johnson again. Yes! We're tied at 49. Johnson's on fire. That third scoring option tonight for Pittsburgh. Cameron Johnson has been the difference maker. Justin Jackson can't answer. And the ball off of Jamel Artis.
Carl, basketball, whether you call it swag, whether you say it's confidence, whatever it is, you must have it in order to be successful. And right now what we've seen from Pittsburgh so far is this belief, this trust, and this level of confidence that when they release the ball, that it's going to go down.
Hey, that was a great example, though, of Artis, who usually would shoot that ball. Saw the open man, gave it to Johnson. He's the hot guy, and he buried it. An 11-2 run for Pittsburgh to start here in the second half. Joel Berry steps into one. He gets it to go. We got an old-fashioned shootout. Berry, another 5 3-point night effort. Perhaps this is where the senior-laden Pitt Panthers can handle a crowd like this.
Every single time they have found the answer at the offensive end. Barry with a couple of big threes, but Pittsburgh comes right back on them. Quiets the crowd.
The passing has been on point tonight. Justin Jackson, a floater. Two-man game now. Barry and Jackson for North Carolina.
And if
17.
And if it turns into a two-man game, we've got two of the best. I mean, when you're looking at Barry and Jackson, Artis, and Young.
Tonight, Cameron Johnson wants a little piece of that action. The ball controlled by Jones in the corner. We're at 9 on the shot clock. Artis backs in. We're going to get the defensive foul on Nate Britt.
The question coming out of the break was Pittsburgh going to be able to maintain their energy and their level of focus? They have answered it early here in the second half. Strong finishes towards the basket. And at the opposite end, Justin Jackson. Boy, he is skilled and talented.
Money. This will lead to some debate.
Yeah, look, Caleb Swanigan has been unbelievable for Purdue. Josh Hart has been consistent for Villanova. You look at Markelle Fultz, a player that, although his team is struggling, the numbers he's been putting up have been ridiculous. You put Josh Jackson and Justin Jackson on there, and I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, there's other guys. Frank Mason clearly deserves to be on there. Lauri Markkanen from Arizona. But those 5 guys, I think, have been playing as consistent and as strong as of late in college basketball.
No question about it. Wooden Watch is really good. So's the Bob Cousy Award this year for best point guard in the country. Barry's on that list. That was the first miss, by the way, in the second half for Pittsburgh. They had been 5 of 5. Artist the pull-up, in and out. And another defensive rebound for Isaiah Hicks. He can push it himself. Britton Berry in the backcourt, wide open at the free throw line, and he got hacked on the way in. Foul on Sheldon Jeter. Thursday, 7 Eastern Time, ESPN. Tom Izzo's Michigan State Spartans against Nebraska. It streams live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. You're going to go back to the 2001 Spartan team that had Jason Richardson and Zach Randolph on it. They had a plus 15 when it came to their rebound margin. We're looking at a Carolina team this year that's at plus 13. That's where we get into the whole historical nature of what Carolina's been doing on the offensive in particular and defensive glass.
It's been a great year for North Carolina on the glass. And you look back at that Michigan State-Nebraska game you're just talking about. Look for Miles Bridges to continue to round into form, coming off that double-double that he had against Michigan over the weekend in a nice win for the Spartans. He's going to need to dominate the glass against Nebraska, and that's a weakness that the Cornhuskers have.
Lead is 5. We got a chance to go to Hawaii and saw Miles Bridges, saw Josh Jackson. Both of them, of course, highly touted coming in. Does feel like Jackson has moved forward as quick as anybody in college basketball to this point.
I agree with you.
Turnover, bullet pass. That's a great catch by Isaiah Hicks with a dunk. And just like that, the lead grows to 7. Jones again. No good, and all of a sudden, Pittsburgh's got a little cold, and Carolina trying to take advantage. Careful for a 3 here. Jackson launches. Too long and too strong. And a good box there by Jones. Well, the lead could have been 10 if that 3 went down. Let's see what Pitt does this trip.
Good patience here by Pittsburgh. I like it. The game's starting to get away. The crowd's getting involved.
Johnson, no, and they're missing their 3s here the last 3 trips down. Makes too big and too strong as he gets it to go off the window. And now an 8-0 run for Carolina. Gets their lead to 9. That's their largest lead of the game. Kevin Stallings wants a timeout. Screaming for one. His players don't see it. And they got to call it. Extra pass. Worked out beautifully. Boy, Jamel Artis has made the extra pass tonight. Cameron Johnson knocks down another 3.
A really good possession, though, where they got the ball on one side, down low, and then swung it around without a single bounce to find the open shooter on the outside.
And their coach wanted the timeout. Nobody saw him. Meeks underneath the basket. Oh, nice play by Kennedy Meeks. He's into double figures with 10. Pittsburgh just can't get a stop.
And that's nothing new, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been the story all season long, defensively. Meanwhile, Carolina has strung together a couple stops in a row prior to that 3-pointer in the corner.
Artis fadeaway. Got it! Jamel Artis. A step back 3, and it's a 5-point game.
A good job, though, by Carolina to create some separation. It's body blow after body blow. And where do the body blows come? Down low in the paint. They've got size, they've got athleticism, and they have the ability to finish. Machines are relevant other than National Signing Day. I mean, we just showed a fax machine. When's the last time you used a fax machine?
It's not even hooked up at the house. I have to go to the library to fax something. I don't know how to get that to work. I think you also need a phone line, right?
Yes.
Everything's on the cell now. 62-57, Carolina leading Pittsburgh.
There's got to be a better way.
Yeah, there has to be. The shooting for both teams has been outstanding. And another three. And Carolina 9 of 13 in the second half. Luke May hit that one.
He has had the ability to stretch you from the outside and knock down that shot. 38% of the season.
Cameron Johnson through the back cut pass to Young. They're going to keep it with Pittsburgh. And we're going to take a timeout. 65-57. Back to Carolina after these messages.
I created Open Hearts.
Per game and points allowed per game. They've got a major influx of talent from power conferences. When you look at Jordan Matthews, Nigel Williams-Goss, and Jonathan Williams III, and then we want some fries with that?
Sure.
They got 2 McDonald's All-Americans at guards. And when you talk about what we mentioned earlier with Roy Williams, having multiple guards that can play, Gonzaga has multiple lead guards they can go with. They can play them as a tandem, or they can play them individually. The Zags are a legit team this year in college basketball.
Well, something to keep an eye on. Gonzaga, they try to go through the season unblemished, the regular season, then they'll get into conference play in the NCAA tournament. Arizona and Oregon have been so good out west. How about that showdown this weekend?
Yeah, it's going to be a huge game on Saturday out west. And if you haven't given a look at Arizona, Sean Miller, National Coach of the Year right now. He did it without Alonzo Trier, and now Trier is back. Now they're a Final Four caliber team.
3 on the shot clock, 2 on the shot clock. And the throw hits nothing, and they did not have a good game plan. After an offensive rebound from Michael Young, and the Panthers are going back to their defensive side.
And
frustrated.
What Kevin Stallings is asking is that Jamel Artis has got to take the ball in his hands and make a play in that moment. And Artis has been unselfish. He's made the extra pass. But that's where a point guard hurts you.
Yep.
When you don't have one and the shot clock is winding down, point guards so often are accustomed to having that awareness and that clock in their head.
Chance to get the lead to double digits. Berry goes one-on-one. Good help that time from Johnson to knock it away. And Artis will push. Young fouled by May. No, they won't call that. Call it on the floor. Hard to get a continuation call in college basketball. I think this was the right call.
Yeah, no, I think it was definitely on the ground. I do like continuation, though. I see it in the NBA all the time. You know, in the NBA, that's a made basket, and we're going to the free throw line. And in college basketball, it's not, and that's fine. I like different.
We see a lot of things in the NBA we don't see here.
Right, but you know, I don't agree. I don't
like
disagree
this
with
game
that
better.
Yeah. I like the fact you can play different styles. I like you can go to the zone. You can do multiple things to kind of disrupt your opponent.
I don't like the 4 steps you can get in the NBA. I don't like that. Artis, Young, oh, good pass. Roselle can't get it to go, and what are we going to have? Stay here. Looks like they're going to call it on Nate Britt.
A foul underneath, and talk about North Carolina passing the ball defensively, missing one of their key components tonight. And there he is, well-dressed, Theo Pinson.
Looking sharp, and he has been a real difference maker when he's been on the floor. He hurt his ankle earlier tonight. We actually saw him dancing inside the huddle, so the ankle appears to be improving, and they're going to need him given the stretch that they have coming up. When he's on the floor, their assists go through the roof. He's got vision that Roy Williams said if everybody had vision like he did, they'd be great as far as the ability to pass. He loves what Theo Pinson brings to the team.
And with that vision, he has awareness and feel for the game as well.
Johnson all the way to the basket. What a night Cameron Johnson is having. A career high now in points. He's got 21. There's been only one tie, and Pittsburgh has never had a lead in this game. And Valentine's going to call that on Big Roselle Nix. His second.
Second personal foul, but I'll tell you this, awfully close to having 3 seconds in the key. And he's 2 feet deep in the paint, posting up for a long, long time.
Tony Bradley back into the game. He's been relatively quiet tonight. What a take, Isaiah Hicks.
How strong was that?
Real strong, because Young was playing really up in his face on the defensive end.
Getting bumped from behind, has a player falling on him, and just goes baseline, rips right through, and finishes with his left hand. A nice job and an authoritative, no doubt kind of move.
Isaiah Hicks, 14. Young frustrated as he heads to the bench.
Well, he ripped off his mask, and one of his bands that helped keep his mask together is at the center court table.
So you're saying when he tries to put it back on, he won't be able to do it?
Correct. Until somebody from Pittsburgh understands that that's laying right underneath the possession arrow across from us.
All right, we're going to have to watch for the mask and his ability to put it back on. They got to be careful now, 68-59. And Young is scoring threat on the bench. Artis throws it away. 9th turnover of the night for Pittsburgh. 68-59. And the leader next to the Fireball Express, which you get during the baseball season, with Buster Olney.
I agree. That Fireball is...
You love that.
The hot stove.
You got it. That's on Fridays. But here we got a hoop game, 68-59. Is Pittsburgh going to be able to get a defensive stop? That's been their issue all season and tonight as well.
And in the second half, North Carolina shooting 67% from the floor. Williams is limping, though. He came up lame.
Yeah,
he's talking to the ref.
Yeah.
And the ref noticed it right away.
With Pinson out, this could be fairly significant as Kenny Williams heads back to the bench. Trying to take a look at a replay to see exactly what he did. Nate Britt comes on the floor. Williams has emerged as the team's best defensive player.
A very nice carved out role for him in that starting lineup as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like his role is to be a good perimeter defensive player, a willing defensive player, an opportunistic offensive player.
They try to trap the shot clock at 2. That one draws nothing, so they're going to have a shot clock violation.
And they shouldn't have stopped that one. Pittsburgh had the ball in his hands already, going to the opposite direction.
Ooh,
I think it was knee
twisted it.
I think it might have been knee on knee contact, maybe on the screen. He was trying to set a screen, and he has just went back and he's jogging in the tunnel. So he has left the bench. He has gone back with the trainer behind the curtain.
Well, 7 minutes to go, and every trip for Pittsburgh feels like it cannot be empty. They got to come over with some points.
Don't get locked into just shooting three-point shots, though. Remember what was successful in the first half.
Johnson, extra pass. Artis can't get it to go. Jeter and Young had it, and they both lost it to Tony Bradley. Jackson, one-on-one move, can't get it to go. The offensive follow, no good by Bradley. They keep battling, and it's going to be Carolina ball. Bradley had it and almost buried his hands in the basket and had it bounce out. I think Tony Bradley's going to be a big-time player in the next couple of years. Only a freshman. He heads back to the bench.
Difficult move that time and a poor possession. It's a one-on-one move into traffic, off balance on the shot.
Williams returns to the bench for North Carolina. I wonder about Pittsburgh's stamina, too. They just don't play that many players.
And their depth has been hurt as well because of injury. Ryan Luther being out.
They're going to call a block. Well, the crowd doesn't like that call. Isaiah Hicks just got ran into.
And watch this turn the corner. I don't know what else you can do. It's a hard call. Look, we're showing it to you in slow motion, and it's the most frequently errored call in college basketball.
Saw it last night, too, the Notre Dame game, when Vasturia had clear position and was ran over, and they called it the block.
I think there's much more he could do on that possession.
Now the question is, they're trying to get some shots out of this. Kevin Stallings is suggesting that he was shooting.
He's telling Roy Williams. Great history between those two.
Kevin was on the staff for Roy Williams at Kansas. Twice they went to the Final Four together. Johnson tried to pass, probably should have went with a bounce pass. Instead, it gets picked off. Set the screen for Jackson. He wasn't open. Now they double team Meeks, who throws it away.
So a couple stops here for Pittsburgh. For them right now, 5:30 left to go. They're trailing by 9. You need to get 4 stops in a row. Are you going to be able to get 4 stops in a row? How much effort do you have left in the tank? It's been a good, solid effort overall tonight from the start of this game for Pitt. Do they have enough with the limited numbers to sustain 4 consecutive stops?
Would love to get an easy basket, let alone a 3, and they're going to try the 3, and it's Young who gets it to go. A big one there to make it a 6-point game. He's got 16. Well, you saw the graphic. Carolina 5 trips without a field goal here. So Pittsburgh, you asked if they were able to stop them. They have here the last couple of trips down. They're going to have to do it again. Britt, no good. Good rebound by Artis.
Well, Carolina, I want Justin Jackson taking a shot here. He needs to get re-engaged offensively.
Young again. High arcing shot, back-to-back threes, and it's a 3-point game.
Kennedy Meeks has got to show better on that and contest.
There's only been 1 tie, and Pittsburgh hasn't led all night. Berry contested 3. Offensive rebound, no. Another one. And we're going to get a foul. Isaiah Hicks doing work on the offensive glass.
Pittsburgh not going away, though. They strung together some stops in a row, and then wide open, uncontested 3-point look coming off the screen. Next time down the floor, closeout. Way too late, way too much space. Back-to-back identical threes for Young.
As Isaiah throws free throws, we want to remind everybody after Georgia, Kentucky on ESPN. Sports Center at night can be seen. John and John, Bucci and Anderson, the highlights, the breakdowns from college hoop, the NBA, the latest from Super Bowl 51. That's happening Sunday in Houston, Atlanta, and the Patriots. Also more on that college football recruitment day tomorrow. Sports Center at night after the Super Tuesday hoops on ESPN. Looking forward to hearing Brent Musburger's game, Georgia and Kentucky. It streams live on the app and watch ESPN. 4 to go, 5-point game. Young's just made 2 threes. They stay out behind the perimeter. And now they get it to Young. He's going to work one-on-one. Artis. In and out. That was halfway down.
That was a beautiful shot, though, set up by Young.
Very hard to the hole. They'll get a foul on Johnson. Wow, what a turn. We could have had a 2-point game, and now it may stretch to 7 with the free throws. Good one in Carolina tonight.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Century.
Seen is some great shot-making ability when you look at Johnson and Young combined 15 of 22 from the field for 40 points. And then the balance once again for North Carolina. I do think that Justin Jackson needs to get involved offensively. They have not seen a made field goal since the 8:02 mark here in the second half. It has been 4 minutes and 13 seconds without a made basket. That's their 3rd point, all coming from the free throw line.
The highest career free throw shooter in North Carolina history, Joel Berry, misses one. 90% free throw shooter, and the lead is 6. Again, you look back at that Artis 3-point attempt. Had it gone down, we were looking at a 2-point game. Now it's 6. Every trip big for Pittsburgh.
They try to get the ball to Young, but good defense by Jackson.
Cameron Johnson on the outstretched arm. He shoots it over Hicks. What a shot. And what a night for Cam Johnson, 24.
But they're allowing too much separation before the catch. Yeah, it's a good closeout, but you're so far away that it's not pertinent to the ability for the shooter to make that shot. And Johnson's been in a rhythm all night. He deserves your respect.
Trying to get the ball to Jackson here or down low. Jackson will take it and come up short. And a good box out by both Jeter and Young. A chance to tie or move within one.
You see the multiple players going towards the ball. I think you go to Young again here.
High arcing three, no good. Good hustle and a good rebound by Nate Britt, and he got fouled.
When we go back 2 possessions, though, Johnson's three-point shot. Watch as the ball gets swung out. Here comes the screen. Where's the Carolina player? Yeah, it's a good closeout because his hands are up high, but you're waiting 1, 2 before you start to see that hand. You've got to be there immediately on the catch.
Third foul on Artis, one-on-one for Nate Britt. Britt only a 63% free throw shooter. And he misses. Carolina off a loss to Miami, being pushed by a team that's 1-7 in the conference in Pittsburgh, who's trying to avoid a 7-game losing skid. Shot clock at single digits now. Artis uses his body big time, and he sent Britt out of bounds. 1-point game. Very hard to the hole. Got the contact and the foul.
Artis makes it a 1-point game, and then Joel Berry gets into the body, turns the corner, has a seam, helps side rotation a step slow, able to finish over the top.
It's a good time to remember what we talked about at the top. When you have the floor leader, you get into a situation like that. Pittsburgh doesn't have that guy, and Carolina has multiple point guards. Berry makes the free throw, and the lead is 4 with a $1:35 to go. Artis hits a 3 to make it a 1-point lead. Berry got aggressive on the defensive end, and it led to an open Artis. Justin Jackson all the way to the hole, and all of a sudden, Carolina's recognizing, go to the basket, get the easy bucket or a foul. He's got 19.
Well, for Carolina right now, what it comes down to is getting a stop.
Artis went with his left hand, and he had a slip off his hand. Turnover to Carolina. And they're going to foul Britt, who again has just missed a free throw and shoots 63%.
A very smart foul to send Britt to the free throw line, even though it's a 1-possession game and a 12-second differential. Artis gets his feet set, lines up the 3, and then the go-to guy, as it's been all year long, really need a bucket, find number 44 and let him go to work.
Big free throws for the senior guard. And he gets it to go off the front of the rim and in, and the lead is now 4. Nate Britt has 4. They take Meeks out.
Well, you know, you go back to what I said at the start of this game about Pittsburgh. They are 6 possessions away from being 4-4 in conference play. If they can play like this, something that they're going to need to sharpen up as they get into that schedule.
Second free throw, good. Pittsburgh has lived and died by the three-pointer, and they're going to need likely 1 or 2 here with 25 to go in the game. That ball deflected out of bounds. Cameron Johnson's been their go-to guy, 6 of 9 from 3 tonight. As a team, they're 12 of 27. Artis had to go off his foot. Now Johnson. Tough shot in the corner. Oh, it goes! What a shot by Chris Jones. Who would have thought that?
It's been that kind of night for Pittsburgh. I mean, they have, look, sometimes there's good defense.
9 of 13.
Well, and what did we first talk about when we came on air, though, tonight?
Well,
How does North Carolina go? It goes
by Joel Berry.
As Joel Berry goes. And tonight, Joel Berry, 19 points. 6 of 12 shooting from the floor. 3 assists. He's limited his turnovers, only 2 on the game, and he's been ice at the free throw line.
Tell you what I loved. I love the Josh Jackson drive. You know, they don't settle for jump shots. They take them when they're there. But boy, if he were to drive more often, would he be even more effective?
Yes. You know, sometimes you start playing on the perimeter so much that you just get used to it, and he's had efficiency this year improved so much that you're comfortable there. And sometimes getting out of your comfort zone and applying that pressure to the defense is a good thing.
They get it to Jackson, and he's got a 2-on-1. And he's going to hold it and get fouled.
And just a smart move.
Yep, it was.
An experience on this roster. You go back to a season ago, and obviously the national championship game, one for the ages. But the experience of being in these situations, being in tight games, knowing how to win, even when you're not playing your best. And that's North Carolina tonight. They did not play their best basketball game of the season, in particular at the defensive end of the floor.
Big miss for Justin Jackson. He is a 78% free throw shooter.
And remember, North Carolina does have a foul to give. Even if he makes this, it's a 1-possession game.
Yep. Roy wants to talk about it.
To me, I look for Young coming out and taking the 3-point shot for Pittsburgh.
Really in a night when Cameron Johnson 9 of 13,
but defensively,
players have all made 3-pointers tonight. Jones just made the last one. So they have basically 4 3-point threats, all of whom have made at least 1 tonight. They're 13 of 28 overall.
You want to force them again, catching the ball, going towards the ball. You do not want them to gain momentum going up the sideline. You want to foul before the pass comes. Take a second or 2 off the clock would be good.
The only guy who is not a 3-point shooter is Sheldon Jeter. And there's the foul, and we're at 7-2.
Yeah. They took 2 dribbles. You foul him, now you force him to take the ball out. If you foul him, it becomes a free throw shooting game for the final 7.2.
Which they may do, and that's exactly what they do.
Well, that's pretty close to going up for a shot.
Artis was saying he was going up for a shot. Valentine says, I'm not buying it.
I'll tell you what, though, that was a heady move as the foul came in to try to earn the 3 free throws.
That's really close. If you look at that, that's really close.
Yep.
And he knew what the plan was for Carolina.
It's good awareness.
.72% free throw shooter makes the first.
He said Kevin Stallings told him to make it.
Yep. Read his lips.
Yep. And now you make the shot, you foul right away.
Right.
If you want to foul, obviously Britt is the one you would like to foul if you're a Pitt.
Makes the second. Britt's going to try to go long. They're going to foul Isaiah Hicks. And Isaiah Hicks, an 81% free throw shooter with 4.8 to go.
Just good execution that time. Exactly what Kevin Stallings was looking for. Obviously, you would have liked Britt to be the guy that you could foul, but he was going long, as you mentioned.
Hicks 5 of 6 tonight from the free throw line. And he misses it. Tell you, this is how close Artis was to trying to sell that three-point shot to Teddy Valentine. You could certainly make the case anyway. He was going for a shot because he knew he was going to get fouled.
Well, regardless, right now it's 4.8. On a make, it's a 2-point game.
Yep.
So now you're North Carolina, you cannot foul.
Right.
Because you'd send them to the free throw line. And if you're Pitt, you can get something going to the basket. You don't need the three. The three obviously wins it, but you can get something going to the rim.
Again, no point guard, so nobody who's a true ball handler. As the free throw goes. They get it to Artis. And he ends up taking a terrible fadeaway shot.
What a game, though. All right, great fight from Pittsburgh in this contest. Two coaches that know each other really well. And Carolina outlasts them when they didn't bring their A game tonight at the defensive end of the floor.
Kind of an empty feeling for Pittsburgh. Artis' shot was never really a competitive shot. They gave it everything they had tonight, and they end up losing by 2, 80-78, which extends that losing streak now to 7 games in a row. I'll do this a lot more often if they end up like this.
This was fun. Not a lot of fouls, a lot of made shots. I love basketball when it's like this.
ACC basketball. 80-78 the final for our entire crew here in Sean Farnham. I'm Carl Ravitch. Enjoy the Brent game on ESPN. Let's send it back to the studio in Adnan.
Ravi, thank you very much.